right, bet. Oh yeah, and we're gonna go gather the Lord willing we are that number. We're gonna go gather the other Israelites who fought. Give me Deuteronomy 32. Who ain't never even heard of this shit. Go ahead.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 66, verse 19.
Go ahead.
And I will set a sign among them.
Read on.
And I will send those that escape of them unto the nations.
Yeah, I will send those that escape of them, like the elect that's going to escape the coming destruction, that's going to get delivered out of there through the chariots. Go ahead.
To Tarshish.
To Tarshish. Go ahead.
Pul,
read on.
And Lud.
And Lud. Go ahead.
That draw the bow to Tubal.
Go ahead.
And Javan.
All right, different nations we're going to be going to get other Israelites that ain't heard. Go ahead.
To the isles of far off.
To the isles of far off. Go ahead.
That have not heard my fame.
That have what?
That have not heard my fame.
That have not heard his fame yet. So it's going to be other Israelites who ain't even heard of this yet. Go ahead.
Neither have seen my glory.
Neither have seen my glory. Go ahead.
And they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles.
Go ahead.
And they shall bring all your brethren for an offering unto the Lord out of all nations upon horses.
Upon nations upon horses. So this basically telling the Israelites that scattered far off, like on somewhere in certain islands that ain't never heard of this, through the Spirit, Lord willing, we are that number. We're going to have to go and gather them and bring them so they can hear the fame and know what the Lord.
And that's through the chariots and everything.
Yeah, that's through the chariots and everything. You know, through that mechanism. Oh, we got it.
I'm going to read that again one time. And they shall bring all your brethren for an offering unto the Lord out of all nations upon horses and in chariots.
And what?
And in chariots.
And in chariots, go ahead.
And in litters and upon mules. And upon swift beasts to my holy mountain Jerusalem. Saith the Lord, as the children of Israel bring an offering in clean vessel into the house of the Lord. And I will also take of them for priests and for Levites, saith the Lord.
Saith the Lord. So he's going to take of them. There's going to be some Levites in the midst of them. He's going to take them as Levites and priests, saith the Lord, are the ones we go and gather. Because we basically going and talking to how we scattered everywhere. Some Israelites ain't going to be able to hear like we hearing of it, like right here. Certain parts of Africa we know about it, in the UK. There's some Israelites that's far off that ain't never heard of this.
You saying some of the brothers that just like doing like missionary trips?
Yeah, I be seeing it. Yeah, so it's getting out there a little bit, you know. So that's good through the Spirit. So yeah, that's if they answer your question on that. Okay, perfect. You got another?
Talking about how Esau shall be cut off forever. But I know that they're supposed to be slaves in the kingdom.
Yeah, so that's talking about, so it's an order to prophecy. So if they're going to be slaves, what that leads you to, they can't get cut off before they slavery. This going to happen after the slave time. Because it tell you, give me my evil neighbors, Jeremiah 12. Yeah, it's going to be after, when they get cut off, it's going to be after after the slavery. It'll take you there to Isaiah. You got to give me that in Isaiah 66.
So they pretty much going to get slaughtered in the kingdom?
Yeah, they're going to get slaughtered. It's a spot we got called, what is called? Where we going? Where Israel, we used to burn all type of trash and everything. And it's telling you that's why the ones, like the Edomites, that's what it's called? Yeah, it starts with a G. Gehenna, right? I think, who just said it? Yeah, Gehenna. Yeah, and Gehenna, it tell you how we're going to be burning them in there in Isaiah 66, which is kingdom connotation. But look, let me give you this. 12. Give me my evil neighbors. Because I'm going to show you how the other nations, they going to get to go back to their land. But Esau, the only nation that's promised not to go back to the land. Canaanites, I mean, yeah, they going to be, they can't go into the temple. Yeah, nah, they can go, they gonna go into the kingdom as far as being our slaves and everything. But they're talking about they ain't gonna be able to come give no type of sacrifice or come into the temple or the congregation of the Lord. But they still gonna be in the kingdom, but it's gonna be a hierarchy. Only people that's promised not to be, they get their land back and get their land lot is the Esau. Let me show you. You got the evil neighbor? Where is it? Yeah, give me that. Yeah, 14.
This is Jeremiah chapter 12, verse 14.
Go ahead.
Thus saith Yahweh, against all mine evil neighbors.
Against my evil neighbors. So this talking about the other nations that was the evil neighbors to Israel. Go ahead.
That touch the inheritance which I have caused my people Israel to inherit.
Go ahead.
Behold, I will pluck them out of their land,
Behold, I will pluck them out of their land. Go ahead.
and pluck out the house of Judah from among them.
Okay, now that's talking about us being scattered. How he said he got to go to all nations and get us. So he gonna pluck them out of their land, and he gonna get us that's scattered amongst them. Watch, keep going.
Verse 15.
Go ahead.
And it shall come to
It
pass,
shall come to pass. Read on.
after that I have plucked them out, I will return.
Okay, after he plucked them out, after they go into their captivity, serve the Israelites for the time they gotta serve. Go ahead.
And have compassion on them,
He gonna have compassion on them. Go ahead.
and will bring them again, every man to his heritage.
Every man to his heritage. So they're talking about every man to his land lot assessment. The Cushites gonna get to go back to their land. The Elamites gonna get to go back to their land. So all them evil neighbors, after they serve their captivity for what they did to Israel, they're gonna get to go back to their land. Go ahead.
And every man to his land.
Every man to his what?
To his land.
Land. That's the end of it. I bet. So that basically tell you, after they serve their captivity, them other nations get to go back to their land. But the only nation that's not gonna be able to go back to it is now we're gonna read Obadiah 1 and 9.
This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 9.
Go ahead.
And thy mighty men, O Teman,
Now mighty man, O Teman, go ahead.
shall be dismayed
Read
to the
on.
end that every one of the mount of Esau
Every one of the mount of Esau. So that's another word for everybody of the house of Esau. Go ahead.
may be cut off by slaughter.
Maybe what?
May be cut off by slaughter.
Yeah, so they're going to get put to death. All of them getting put to death after they serve their captivity. Because it's the order of the prophecy. Give me Jeremiah 30 and 16. Because they got it. Oh, no, matter of fact, Isaiah 14. All right, now read this. Keep 19, yeah, 18.
This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 18.
Go ahead.
And the house of Jacob shall be a fire.
Read on.
And the house of Joseph a flame.
A house of Joseph aflame. Go ahead.
And the house of Esau for stubble.
For stubble. So now this lets you know this haven't happened yet, because it said the house of Jacob aflame and the house of Joseph. Read it one more time. Huh?
What does the word stubble mean? Like,
Stubble, like basically when you burn something, it's like the stubble. Yeah. Read that from the topic.
God. Obadiah 1 and 18.
Go ahead.
And the house of Jacob shall be a fire.
The house of Jacob gonna be a fire. Go ahead.
And the house of Joseph a
A
flame.
flame. Read on.
And the house of Esau for stubble.
For stubble. So it's saying the house of Jacob a fire and the house of Joseph a flame. So that means both kingdoms gonna be together and back on top. So they let you know that ain't happened yet, because ever since I think 700, when they get the northern kingdom got kicked out of it tell you that in Jeremiah 7 and 15, the northern kingdom, they went into Babylonian captivity with us. I think if I go roughly around 700 AD circa, the northern kingdom, that's when they came over here to what we call so-called America over here at the Assyrian captivity. So ever since then, both tribes both houses ain't never been together fully. It been a couple, like if you read in the New Testament, it been certain Asherites, certain northern kingdom, but a small amount. So this is a future prophecy telling us that both kingdoms gonna be aflame. That means all of us gonna be back together right there. So to let you know, this ain't happened yet. If somebody try to tell you, oh, that already happened. Well, no, when the northern and the southern kingdom was back in one on fire. Never. All right, keep going.
And the house of Esau for stubble.
For stubble, go ahead.
And they shall kindle in them and devour them.
Read on.
And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau.
There should not be any remaining of the house of Esau. Go ahead.
For the Lord has spoken it.
Go ahead.
And they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau. And they of the plain, the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim.
Yeah, so basically it's talking about our dominion and how it's not going to be, we're going to possess the mount of Esau. Like, they going to be gone. So every other nation going to get to go back to their land, and they going to come and bring reverence to Israel whenever, we got to get their first fruits, which will tell you, like, in Isaiah 65, we going to get the first fruits of everything from the other kingdoms. But Esau, they getting cut off by slaughter. They ain't promised no repentance or nothing, for every single one. Thus saith the Lord. I mean, I ain't make it up, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Oh, yeah, so basically that's how that's going to go. That's the order of prophecy as far as for that. Another question? I mean, do y'all understand that? Okay. That's it.
There was a scripture, I don't know if it was in Matthew, talking to the Israelites and stuff, and something like that.
Oh,
They'll never die or something.
yeah, that was talking about at that time into his Transfiguration. What that's Matthew 8? Matthew 8 and 51. Go to this. Was it Matthew? Nah, it's Matthew. Some in 51. Matthew shall see death. Hold on, it might ain't 8. It's 20. It's 9 and 22. Nah, that's I'm above. Hold on. Verily, verily, I say unto you. John 8 and 51. John 8 and 51. That's what. John 8 and 51. You there? Oh, you heat. You there?
This is the book of John, chapter 8, verse 51.
Go ahead.
Verily, verily, I say unto you.
Verily, verily, say unto you. Go ahead.
If a man keep my saying, he shall never see death.
Go ahead.
Then said the Jews.
Is that the one? That's the one you talking about? Nah, I think you talking about the other one. When it say one to the Son of Man. Taste death. Taste death. That's taste death. Yeah. That's talking about. He was talking about in that context. He was talking about to his transfiguration. Shall not taste death. Where is it though? 16 to 28.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 28. Verily I say unto you. Verily I say unto you.
Verily say unto you. Go ahead.
There be some standing here.
There be some standing here. He's talking to the disciples at that time. Go ahead.
Which shall not taste of death.
Go ahead.
Till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom.
See the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. They was talking about his transfiguration and seeing him in his glory. They weren't talking about they not going to die at all. Because of course after that the disciples, they died. But they was just talking about at that moment, you're not going to see death until that happens. That's what he was talking about on that. That's the context of it.
And as far as like head covers and stuff like that, when should a woman wear a head cover? Remember they had that question earlier. I didn't really know the answer. They always cover their head every time.
Well, go to what that is. You the best at this. Let you break that cover down. You went it down into the
About the head cover?
Yeah, the head cover. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, he the coldest at the head cover.
So you talking about? Yeah, give me 1 Corinthians 11. Right. All right. Yeah. Let me do it. Yeah. Give me 1 second.
Oh shit.
There we go. Yeah, we locked in. All right, give me 1 Corinthians 11. Right. Start at verse 1.
All right, this is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 1. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ. Now I pray you, brethren, that you remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you. Keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you.
So what you're seeing right here in 1 Corinthians is your ordinances. These are things that Paul put over the church of Corinth. You notice how you don't see this anywhere else in the Bible? Do you know why that is? Because they had an issue. They had an issue with head wraps, not really head wraps, but like heads being veiled in Corinth, right? Like you have people wearing it as a form of men wearing it as a form of submission to another god. People. You have women walking around without one. In the first century, and they were looked at as like whores and things like that. So that's why the next verse he gives you the order. Like the head of man is Christ, and the head of Christ is God, and the head of the woman is the man, right? Showing you the order that the Lord set out from Genesis chapter 3, where it talks about, give me Genesis chapter 3, real fast, watch this. Because a lot of things we can't, like, when we read the Bible, we have to realize sometimes when they're talking about things, it's for something at that time period, and something culturally happened. That's why you only see that in Corinth. You don't see him say that to Ephesians, the Ephesians or the Philippians or anybody else. That's something specifically for the church of Corinth. Okay, watch this. Get Genesis 3:16.
That's the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 16. So unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception.
Yeah.
In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. And thy desires shall be to thy husband.
Thy desires shall be to thy husband. Go ahead.
And he shall rule over thee.
So what?
And he shall rule over thee.
That's the order which the Lord set out for men and women. The man's going to rule and the woman's going to be in submission to the man. That's why in verse 3, watch verse 3.
1 Corinthians 11, verse 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is a Mashiach.
Yeah.
And the head of woman is the man. And the head of a Mashiach is God.
That's something we've already seen from Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. Right? That's the order. That's something that was being misconstrued in the Corinth, in the church of Corinth, or literally the city of Corinth. Right? That's something they were doing. And guess who was ruling that city? The so-called white man. So-called white man's ruling that city. You know, yeah, the Greeks, the Greco-Romans at this time. But you know, you ever notice how like every time they're ruling the city, you see places like. You see things like transgenderism, women are equal to the men are higher than the men. That's how they act. That's how they rule. That's why you see right here in Corinth, he has to correct that. That's what this is really going into. And the things as far as men wearing a veil over their head, at that time, they were doing that in submission. They were doing it in submission to other gods and submission to women. And women are doing the opposite of that to be whores. So when you have people in the church, right? Say like I have a church, right? Like the first century Jews. Let's say I had a church, right? And I had women in my church, correct? If I see people out here not wearing a hair wrap on, women not wearing a hair wrap on, what are they going to think they are in the first century? I'm gonna think they're going to think they're whores. So what would it look like for first century Christians? A new movement is just arising, right? These people are supposed to be holy people, and then they're not wearing a head wrap to go with the customs of the land. They're going to think Christians are whores. They're going to think Christian women are whores, and vice versa. When they see the men, they're going to see the men submitted to another guy wearing a veil, like doing things like that. What are they going to think? These people worship this God. That's why he's saying to do these ordinances, because this was happening in the first century. We can't take this and then just bring it into 2024 and say, oh, you can't teach with a head wrap on, because you see in Exodus, the Lord tells the priest when they're doing the service for Yahweh in the midst of Yahweh, they have to wear a mitri. They have to wear like something like that, like a head wrap. The Lord commands it. So if we see that, how is Paul going to say something contrary to that? He can't contradict the law. He said in Acts, I think it's 21, he says, I believe in the law and the prophets. For him to say you can't teach with a head wrap on or pray with a head wrap on, he's contradicting the law. I'm explaining the whole thing though. But say you have a wife, right? Well, that's your wife, correct? Your authority, her wearing a head wrap on or not having one on, that's under your authority. That's not any man or Paul in the first century, in the 20th century to now control. That's you. Just like how we read in Genesis chapter 3, it's what you want. If you wanted to have a head wrap on when the scripture's out, that's your business. If you don't care, that's also your business.
So it's not a commandment.
It's not a commandment, right? Because go to verse 16. Watch this.
Verse 16, basically. Even when a woman prays, it's not a commandment.
It's not a commandment. Go ahead.
Verse 16. But if any man seems to be contentious,
if anybody wants to argue about this ordinance that I said, go ahead.
We have no such custom.
We have no such what?
Custom.
Yeah, go ahead.
Neither the churches of God.
It was a custom. What's a custom? Something that we're doing in this time period, because tradition. That's what it is. It's a tradition. That's all they gave. Yeah.
You feel like it's modest as a husband for your wife head to be covered? Do that. But we can't we're not going to superimpose and say that's a sin if you don't got your head covered. Talk about it at that time.
Yeah, we can't just read the Bible, like I said earlier, we can't just read the Bible and take it out of its historical context and try to just put it off into 2024. That's not how it works. You understand?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, yeah.
Is it okay to end your prayers that way, or is it? Because I know it's also.
I have my prayers that way.
You do.
Yeah, with you talking about Matthew 6, which our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yeah, I have my prayers with that. I've always done that.
Is supposed to do that, or is it like mandatory? Or?
I mean, it ain't really. When Christ says that, go to Matthew 6. He just says, "Pray ye after this manner." So I mean, outside of that, I don't know how to really explain it outside. He just says, "Pray ye in this manner." But it's Matthew 6. I think it starts at 9. Is it 8? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Wherever yours.
All right, we just started saying. This is the book of Matthew chapter 6 verse 7. But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Be not ye therefore like unto them, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before you ask him.
And that's something that I be having struggle with sometimes too. Like instead of just like, I gotta ask for this, ask for this. The Lord already knows what you want. That's why he says to clear this up. Don't do those vain repetitions like the heathens do. Why? Because they don't know God. And that's why he's saying that. The heathens they have no idea what God is, the nature of God. That's why they believe in the Trinity or like the virgin birth or things like that. They don't understand God like that. Our Father, he's omniscient. He knows what's going on in your head. He knows what's going on in the world 100% of the time, right? So you don't have to continue to give vain repetitions. So Christ said to clear all that up instead of giving vain repetitions. Do this. Go ahead.
After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is thy kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
And that's the prayer I said, because when you look at every one of them points he said, they cover everything. Give us our daily bread. That's your sustenance, your money, your food, your clothing, everything. Thy kingdom come. What's that kingdom? Of the Lord's kingdom when we ruling again, right? Literally everything is touched in the Lord's prayer. That's why I end my prayers with that.
I know there's a scripture. The scripture literally, I guess, right before it tells you the prayer, it says the repetition part.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that was the beginning of that. I guess scripture.
That passage.
But yeah. So I was thinking that was a repetition type of prayer.
What you mean?
The
Lord's Prayer?
Yeah.
Nah.
So I was like saying it every single time. I was like, maybe I'm not supposed to do that.
Yeah, because you look at, because I'll give you an example. Remember how I said like the heathens do that because they don't know our God, right? And you ever look at the way that they worship or serve their God, they're actually giving vain repetitions. Like literally they got to repeat phrases and stuff like that. If you look at other gods, I think like Canaanite gods like that too. I got to look into it a little bit more. But that's how they serve their God. But we don't serve our God like that. He knows everything. He's not no dead, like no freaking stocks or stones or anything like that. We actually believe in a God that works on the earth. Yeah, the living God. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Basically, they probably be doing repetition. God, let me get the card. God, let me get this. God, let me get this. You know what I'm saying? That type of repetition is that concept.
And even just thinking like that, it shows you really don't know God like that. Because like everything you ask for is gonna have to be in between His will. It's gonna have to be. You can't ask for something outside of the Lord's will. Like who are you? You know what I mean? Like you really don't know God if you're doing that. Like if it be your will, help me out of this situation. If it be your will, deliver me from here. You know what I mean? That's what we got. That's what we got to do. That's why it says when we say we're gonna go somewhere or something like that, or we're gonna be somewhere in the future, say Lord willing. Yeah.
Basically, say our life is
like a baby. Yeah.
Like we what do you say? He's a potterer. We the clay.
We the clay. Exactly.
I definitely appreciate it, brothers, man.
Okay.
It's good talking to y'all, man.
Oh, yeah, already.
How out here?
We be out here, we usually be right over there at the eyeball.
Okay.
But yeah, it's raining today, so we need some cover. But yeah, we usually be out here.
Y'all out here Friday and Saturday, or
just Saturday?
Saturday?
Yeah,
what time y'all get out here?
3:30 really. You said 3:30.
You in the area?
I'm in Grand Prairie.
GP, yeah, that's not too far from me. But yeah, that's we be out here every Saturday.
I've been watching y'all a lot, man. So I've been learning a lot. Yeah,
all praise. All praise.
Man, I've been watching all your stuff, man. You real good. Like even like the debates, the conversations, and all of that, man.
Yeah. All praise.
I've been watching man. All y'all, man.
Yeah. Just keep going. You will be doing it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, we gotta. We're doing sit down classes too.
Okay.
If you're trying to be a part of that too, just hit us up. You got a flyer?
He gave me a white piece of paper.
Yeah.
I know I got it. Hold it up. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, we're doing sit down classes. Like we just came from one actually.
Okay.
And we have one in Arlington.
Okay.
Yeah, so just hit that email. I can let you know about it.
All right, good.
All right, praise.
All right, shalom, man. Shalom.